Hi everyone, this is going to be the next video for the Wedgel unit. This is going to be soil. So we already talked about physical weathering and chemical weathering, and the end product of those is normally smaller sediment. Well, if you break down sediment into even smaller sediment, add some water, add some dead plants and dead animals, you get yourself some nice soil. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Soil. Okay. So soil is going to be generally the upper layer of the earth. If you think about soil, it's always on the top of the ground generally. Plants grow in it. Normally it's black to dark brown. And the big thing about soil that's going to be harped upon throughout this video is it's composed of two things. Rock particles, which is sediment, and number two, organic remains. That is going to be dead plants, sometimes dead animals. That's what soil is. So it's weathered material and dead stuff. Okay? It's going to be repeated over and over again. Number two, how is it formed? Well, first you got to break down the rock into the small sediment, and this is done by physical and chemical weathering. We talked about it, frost action, abrasion, all that stuff, splitting, whatever the case may be. And then organic materials added to this mixture as it decomposes. So generally the plants die in the broken rock and you get yourself some soil. So there's a couple different types. The first one is going to be carried soil. This is soil that was made from a different type of rock than where it is. So for example, if I have this soil A, we'll not say soil A, we'll say rock layer A. This is all rock, and then rock layer B. Say I make some soil on rock layer A. And then the wind takes this soil and blows it over to this area. That soil is now here. This soil here would now be considered transported soil because it came from another source. So this might be limestone. It's like bricks. And this might be a shale. So now the shale soil is now on top of the limestone soil. That's how we know it's different composition. So the composition of the soil is not the same as the rock underneath it. So we know it's been transported from somewhere else. So it could have been transported by a number of ways. Wind, water, humans, we could do it. Glaciers, which are these giant masses of ice. Most of our soil was transported from other places by glaciers. Glacial soil is called till. That's its nickname. If soil came from a glacier, it's called till. Now, the second type of soil is called residual soil. And the way that I remember it is residual sort of looks like resident. And resident means it's coming from a certain area, like the same area. Residual soil means the soil came from the same area that it's currently in. So that would be, if I would do the same example, rock layer A, we'll say this is limestone. Now the soil on top is also made from limestone, so this is called residual because this soil was made from the rock that it's currently on top of. So the soil has similar composition to the rock below because it's probably crushed up pieces of limestone that made that soil. So these are very similar since they're from the same area. As opposed to here, transported, remember the soil is different from what's underneath it. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the different layers of soil. The most important layer is called topsoil. You might have heard this. People like to get it in the summer. It's like really dark colored, and it normally hasn't like this really intense smell. So it's really finely weathered rock and a lot of rotted plants. And a nickname for topsoil is called humus. Humus, humus. The second layer of the soil, if you go a little deeper under the ground, is going to be not as much organic material. Most of that's always in the top layer. This will be some organic material and then a lot of weathered rock. The third layer, if you go deeper down, right here maybe, this is going to be mostly all weathered rock, no organic material. And then the fourth layer down here is just bedrock. So as you go up from the bottom, this is just rock. As you go up, this is finer rock, so it's broken down. This is very broken down with a little bit of organic, and the top is like fully organic. That's your topsoil up there. So as you go down, the less and less organic it becomes, essentially. So here's a little diagram for you of what we just did. The big thing that they ask about a lot is the topsoil. The topsoil is made from finely weathered rock and dead stuff. Organic material like dead plants, dead animals, things like that. Here's a picture of real soil horizons. Horizons is another word for layers, so this is like a soil horizon. Horizon means layer. All right, so what factors make soil different in different areas? Well, 3 things. The soil is going to be composed of different minerals, so its composition. The moisture content, how much water is in the area, is going to give you different soil. And the amount of organic material is going to give you different soil. You might have seen, this is a map of all different types of soils in New York. You might have seen different soils. Some soils dry, some soils really dark, some is sandy, so it depends where you are. So the first thing to take note of, if the area is dry or arid, arid means dry, right here, you're going to have no plants in that area or animals generally. So the organic layer of the soil will probably not be there because you're not going to have plants dying in an area where they don't even grow. So you might see something like this or this. Not very dark, no plant matter, not very organic. So organic means it comes from living things. Inorganic means it does not come from living things. In a humid area, you're going to have a lot of water, which means you'll have more plants and animals. This is going to have a more organic layer of soil in areas that are humid because you got a lot of plants growing, a lot of plants dying, you got a lot of organic amounts of soil. The most important factor for determining the soil type is the climate of the area. The climate, remember, is the general humidity, temperature, things like that of the area. That's going to make the biggest difference. Moisture content as well. All right, that's literally pretty much all soil that you got to know. If the soil is considered immature, that means it's not as developed as mature soil. You're not going to have to necessarily know this. This is just, you might see it in a reading. But that's pretty much it. So the big things about soil, you ready? Soil is broken down rocks and organic material. That's pretty much it. All right, let's see if you can do some questions. We're going to start with 84. We're going to go in order. 84. Whoops. The cross-section below shows a soil profile. Here it is. This soil was formed primarily by what? A. Erosion by glaciers. B. Erosion by running water. C. Capillarity and human activity. Or D. Weathering and biological activity. Hopefully you said D. Weathering is breaking down rock and biological activity is your organic material. It's going to be very repetitive, guys, so get ready. 85. Soil horizons develop as a result of A. Evaporation and transpiration. B. Compacting and cementing. C. Weathering and biological activity. Or D. Faulting and folding. Well, hopefully you said, again, soil develops as weathering and biological activity increase. 86. Humus, which is formed by the decaying of plant and animal matter, is important for the formation of most what? A. Soils. B. Minerals. C. Sediment. D. Surface bedrock. Well, it's A. We talked about humus being the top layer of the soil. It's that dark area. Number 87. Which factor has the most influence on the development of soil? A. The climate. B. The longitude. C. The amount of rounded sediment. Or D. Slope of the landscape. Well, hopefully you remembered the slide before this. Wow, the most important factor for determining the soil is the climate. So the answer there was A. Going up to 88. The diagram below shows a soil profile formed in the area of granite bedrock. 4 different soil horizons are shown. Which soil horizon contains the greatest amount of material formed by biological activity? So would it be layer A would be the most biological activity, B, C, or D? Well, hopefully you picked A. That's the topsoil layer, which is the most organic. The organic layer is always on the top. And last but not least, number 90. Solid bedrock is changed to soil primarily by what? What can make solid bedrock turn into soil? Is it A, erosion, B, weathering, C, infiltration, or D, transpiration? Well, hopefully you said B. Remember, soil is broken down bedrock through the process of physical or chemical weathering. And that is wrapping up soil. So if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Other than that, I will see you in the next one. Bye.